What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry for the delay, but we've been super busy around here. I'm gonna catch you up on one thing that we've had going on that has me pulling my hair out, but we're on the right track right now, so let's check it out. This is Bryce's dad's 225 speed S10. He hadn't had it for very long when he spun a bearing in the bottom end of the engine. So he brought it to us for us to put another 2.2 in it. In fact, he even bought a parts truck to go with this thing so that we could use everything that we needed off of it for the swap. I know it's really taken apart right now, but this isn't a terrible truck. It's in pretty good shape. It's got a few dents and dings in it, but overall it's pretty nice. So we're trying to save it. We took the engine out of the parts truck, re-gasketed the whole thing, top to bottom. The only thing we left was the head gasket, and that's only because the engine was running so good and so strong that we decided not to tamper with that and just leave it alone. Here it is. Okay, so this is the 2.2 out of that parts truck he brought us. We started the truck and everything before we pulled it in to make sure that the engine was okay. It had good oil pressure. So we swapped everything in here, took our time, did everything right. So we thought. We test fired it, and it had a small oil leak and a pretty serious coolant leak. So that's when the hair pulling started. With the engine totally in here, you couldn't hardly see where the leaks were coming from. Underneath the truck, you could tell there was a small puddle of oil and a pretty good sized puddle of coolant that would form under it while it was running. Everything ran good on it. Everything was flawless besides that. So, come to find out that the oil leak was from the cam plate gasket. Yes, we did change the cam plate gasket, but no, we did not put silicone on it the first time. And that allowed oil to seep out around the gasket, drip down right there by the firewall, and leave a little puddle down there right where the bell housing met the engine. First thing I did was pulled the transmission out of it so I could access the back side of the engine and see everything a lot better, and that was great. That's exactly what I did. We've got the transmission setting right here. We pulled it out. The engine was still in there at this time, and that's when I found the mystery coolant leak. This is not the head that was leaking, but I will use it to show you what's going on. This is the EGR, and on this truck, it's a non-EGR truck, so this was just blocked off back here. And I thought the coolant was leaking out around it some. That turned out to not be the case once I took the transmission off and was able to see back in there. So, upon closer inspection, it was coming out of this hole, and I thought, what in the world? Is there a bolt missing? What's going on? But if you look closely, it is not a bolt hole. That's just a casting hole, casting chamber, where coolant is not supposed to be. So, what I did was I drilled this out just enough to tap it and put a bolt and silicone in it to hopefully plug it off to where it wouldn't leak any more coolant. And I did that with the engine still in the truck down there. I was doing it all from underneath here. I got it drilled, tapped, silicone bolted, started it back up, and wouldn't you know it, it started leaking from this hole. So these two are connected. And if I can find a light, I will show you that real quick. Okay, so here's a light. I've got it shining in that hole right there. And there's the light. So I did absolutely nothing by drilling and tapping that and blocking it off, because it immediately just filled up the chamber and came out this side. The intake manifold is right here, but it does not cover this hole. The intake manifold crosses over somewhere in there. So we did a little bit of research on the internet, and the people on the internet was saying that if this is leaking, that means the head is cracked. Yay, cracked head. It's almost got a styrofoam look to it, like maybe a poor quality casting. which is probably what allowed this to crack. There's coolant passages all throughout the head. This is not one of them, but it must border a coolant passage. So anyways, I did what any logical man would do in a tight pinch. Mind you, the engine was still in here and you could barely access anything. I couldn't hardly even touch this, but with my finger from underneath the truck, I could access this just fine. So what I did was I took that bolt back out and filled it full of silicone. Like it was a whole tube of RTV that I shot up in there. And I even held my finger over this hole a little bit to try and make it take as much as it could and get all the air out of it. That worked for about 30 minutes before it started leaking past the silicone. So now, here we are. This is the head off the original engine that was in this truck. I didn't want to use this head because the engine spun a bearing and I was afraid there would be further damage from metal debris spinning around the oil system and all that stuff. So we had this head inspected by 2 other people who okayed it before we put it back on here. We've got the head bolts in there now. We've started putting the rockers back on. We're gonna redress everything up. We're gonna put it back in there and we're really gonna hope and pray that it doesn't leak again. Because this thing has been really holding us back lately. Like I said, it has been having us pull our hair out. This has been one of the longest jobs we've ever done in here. And it's such a simple job. All we had to do was an engine swap and it turned into this mess. So the reason the engine's on the stand right now and not in the truck is because with it in the truck here, you almost cannot access the intake manifold bolts because everything is so tight up against this heater. Even through the fender well, it was hard to access. And we have the body jacked up right now. That's why it looks crooked right through here. That's just because we've got the body mounts out of the front and we've got it lifted up. Here's the blocks that are holding it up. That's just to give us as much possible access in this engine bay. Back here with our cores, I can show you the head. This is the one that we had on there originally from the parts truck. Ran good, ran perfect, everything was great, but it was leaking out of that hole. And you can see there that I shot silicone through it as much as I could. And it must not have been sufficient because it still leaked out of that hole right there. There's possibly some other alternatives that could have been done. Maybe if it was filled full of JB Weld or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. All I know is that we needed to move on with the project and the easiest thing to do was just replace the whole head. So that's what we've done. Hopefully we can get this back together pretty soon and move on to some other projects. Give you a little quick walk around of what we got. This is the gold mine truck from the last video. Since then, we have started the 4.3, and that is a good 4.3 with 171,000 miles. We still have the NV3500 in it. We've already had about 20 people ask us about that. Yes, it will be available, but I've got to get it out of here first. We've already pulled the rear end out of it and sold it to a guy pretty much as soon as we made a post about it. We never even listed it. We just made a post about it and had a bunch of people contacting us. The guy that bought that drove on an 8-hour round trip up here with this damage. Now, it's hard to get anything out. Like the radiator is jammed in there all the way up against the engine fan. We've started plucking a few things out of here to free up some space, but we're probably gonna have to hook the engine hoist to this and just rip it out of there. Also, it's so mangled up here that you can't even hardly, a lot of these bolts are just spinning because things are broken. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen up everything, take everything off of the engine that we can here, everything off of the transmission, and we're gonna try and just lift the body up and off of the frame and leave the engine, transmission stuff mounted to it, and then pull it when everything's off of it. So if you need any parts for this or any other S-Series, just holler at us or send us an email at s10lifeofficial@gmail.com. Not an S10, but this is a 06 Cobalt parts car that we got for our Pontiac G5 that we have posted for sale right now. If you guys need any parts off of this Cobalt, let us know, because after we pull off anything that anybody wants, we're just taking it to the scrapyard. It's not a bad car. Engine's good in it. Transmission pulls fine. We just needed a few parts off of it before we scrapped it. Lots of good parts left on this, so if you need any Cobalt or G5 parts, just holler at us. Probably won't have very much in stock in the future on these, but right now we do. I'll insert a little clip of the Pontiac G5 here. Just got this thing ready to go outside and sit on the lot. Ended up using a Cobalt bumper that we found on Facebook Marketplace. It wasn't perfect, it's split there at the bottom, but I gave it the old drift stitch with some black zip ties, so that saved us from having to paint the yellow bumper and try and match it, because if you look here, it's pretty consistent color there. Not bad. Clean the inside out of it. Get some vacuuming, wiping down everything. Yeah, it turned out pretty good though. For just a cheap old economy car, this thing's not bad. Might as well show you guys what else we got going on while we're at it. The Sinister S10. Man, there's so much to say about this freaking truck. I love it so much. The latest update is I had a roar in the front end. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen that I found the roar. It was this bearing right here. I took it off. There was metal shavings all in there. I replaced the bearing and the hub assembly with a used one. Other than that, we're trying to get this truck ready. We might take it on a 5-hour trip down to the Smoky Mountains. I've always wanted to take this truck to the mountains and just hit the curves with it, hit the road with it. This thing gets drove a lot, but it doesn't get drove very far. It's not uncommon for me to go 30 or 45 minutes away from home in it, but that's about it. I usually just never have to travel far. But I've always wanted to do a road trip in it, so I'm really looking forward to that. I may or may not be able to make that happen. We will see. Mercedes W221 S550 V8 car. Man, this thing is loaded down with all the options you could think of. There's only one problem with it, and that's the TCM, transmission control module, is acting up in it, so we got to pull that out and have it repaired or replaced, or just part the whole car out. But I really don't want to part the car out because this thing is clean title and in fantastic shape, but we got to do what makes the money. So if it costs too much to fix it, we're gonna have to part it out, and there's no choice about that. We just can't be losing money. I don't have enough money to be losing money. The Benzer project, if you guys hadn't seen already, I did a update episode on that not too long ago. Yes, there's stuff piled on it right now because we've been moving junk around. But pretty soon, when we get some extra time, I'm gonna yank the engine and transmission out of this. Any other parts that I want for this, like the mirrors, the wheels, odd and end little things like that. And then we're gonna part the rest of this out and scrap it. No title card. Here's our Kubota diesel 4-wheel drive RTV900. This thing is sweet. It's a 3-cylinder diesel, and it just does a fantastic job. The only thing we use this for is pulling vehicles around that don't run and carrying parts to and from our location that we have outside. This thing's a sweet unit, but it doesn't get used very much. Essentially, we just use it for work. H pattern. This is the latest edition. I'm not going to talk about it very much, but I will tell you we're calling this the Project C4.5. It has a C5, custom C5 body kit on it, made to go on a C4. The doors are molded, the rear end's changed, the fender wells have been changed, and it's even got these gills that go on right here to make it look more like a C5. We did not put that on there. We got this from her grandfather, and her grandfather put these on there. And we've I'm not gonna say a whole lot about it, but we're really looking forward to working on this thing. Got the wood stove in here. Finally able to have some heat. Might have to stir the fire around a little bit. Oh, it's doing okay. Nice and warm coming out of these vents right here. So yeah, that's pretty much a quick little update I got for you guys right now. As soon as we get this thing done, we're on to bigger and better projects. So stick with us. Got a customer supposed to be coming and picking up this 85 core support today. If you guys need any parts, you know where to holler. Traded a set of wheels for that PS5. Brought a TV from the house, got it all set up. That's great. One thing I needed to show you guys in here was these. If you haven't already seen them, these are available on s10life.org. These are billet aluminum seat levers. They're made to go on broken nub seat levers. They've got set screws on 3 sides of it to tighten down on the messed up nubs that are on your recliner lever. We have raw billet aluminum, and we also have the anodized black billet aluminum. Very nice pieces. You probably already know about these, but these are a must-have for any S-Series that you're keeping. This is a tool steel grade quality door pin and bushings with a lifetime warranty. You will never have to replace your door pins again. They come in a set of 4 here. They've got little roll pins that lock them into place. They're not going nowhere. Check those out at s10life.org. One more thing I figured I'd add in. We sold the service truck and bought a Duramax. This thing is sweet. Love this thing. I might do a whole video on it, but that's our new pulling truck right now.